Welcome back, mathematicians. We are moving on to our next unit in math called coordinate planes. We will use the knowledge we learned in Unit 3 about rational numbers to help us with this next unit. Coordinate planes are the intersection of two number lines that create a grid and help us to locate points in space. To help give us a preview of what coordinate planes are, we're going to listen to a FloCab song.
Listen. Yo, on the real, my life is crazy, like in movies. I've been searching for years for gold, jewels, and rubies. I finally have a treasure map, and it's old. I'm in the dungeon of axes, and it's cold, and it's booby-trapped. So I need to know where to find the traps and where to find the gold. Lucky for me, my map, it glows. It's a coordinate plane, let's see what it holds. The x-axis is a number line. It goes across the map, it's really wide. And the y-axis isn't wide, it's tall. It goes up and down my map, that's all. Where they cross, that's the origin. Where I entered the dungeon and where I begin. That's where x equals 0 and y does too. If I didn't understand that, I wouldn't have a clue.
Feeling richer than the boss. My x-axis goes across. My y-axis, it climbs. So when I graph x, y, and get paid on a plane. Now let's ride. Feeling richer than the boss. My x-axis goes across. My y-axis, it climbs. So when I graph x, y, and get paid on a plane. Now let's ride.
Yeah. So my graph is empty, but wait, below is a list of things that I need to locate. There is a pit at 2, 5. What does that mean? If I don't know, I might die. Then I see it says x, y, so the x coordinate is first and then y. So 2, 5, I count 2 to the right, then I count 5 up on the y, alright? Right there is a point, that would be a pit. I put P on the map, yeah, that's it. There's a swinging blade at 3, 1, so I count 3 on the x-axis, son. I count 1 up on the y. I put a B for a blade on the spot, no lie. 2, 5, and 3, 1 are both ordered pairs. A pair of numbers that will show me where the treasure itself is at 3, 6. I plot that point on the map real quick, and then I count out my steps until I see so much gold, and it takes away my breath.
Feeling richer than the boss. My x-axis goes across. My y-axis, it climbs. So when I graph x, y, and get paid on a plane. Now let's ride. Feeling richer than the boss. My x-axis goes across. My y-axis, it climbs. So when I graph x, y, and get paid on a plane. Now let's ride.
I hope you enjoyed that little video and learned a little bit about the coordinate plane. Now it's time to write down some notes for our resources. On your table of contents, please write coordinate grids and mark it page 38. Now turn to page 38 in your notebooks and make sure to number it 38 and to label it coordinate planes. Coordinate planes are the intersection of two number lines. A horizontal number line, which we label our x-axis, and a vertical number line, which we label the y-axis. You might be familiar with using this first quadrant right here for any number lines and bar graphing. Basically, when you use those as graphs, you've been using this little square here. But since it's the intersection of two number lines, we know that it goes to the left now into infinity and beyond using our negative numbers, and it also goes below to infinity and beyond using our negative y numbers. As you can see, there are 4 quadrants, and we call it quadrants because there are 4. The prefix quad usually indicates 4. We label these quadrants with Roman numerals. And the first one is quadrant 1, and it goes in a counterclockwise method. This one is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and then quadrant 4. And again, these are the Roman numerals standing for 1, 2, 3, and 4. It does feel backwards to go counterclockwise, so one way I remember where the quadrants are is to think of it as a C for coordinate plane. So if you think of it as a C, you will get them labeled correctly. Also, a place of importance is this spot right here where the two number lines intersect. This is called the origin. Just like another word that is related to origin, original, this is where we start all of our movements. We always go across the x-axis first, so we always go left to right. We would go right if we have positive x-coordinate. We would go to the left if we had a negative x-coordinate. This dot right here would then be labeled 0, 0. This is where we always start. The y number line above the origin is our positive numbers. And below the origin begins our negative numbers. When we want to say where a point is in space, we use what is called an ordered pair, and it is listed like this. The first number in the ordinate pair is called the first coordinate. And this tells us it's also the x coordinate because it tells us where to move along the x-axis. If it's a positive number, it means we go to the origin and then we move to the right that number of spaces. If it were a negative number, we would go to the origin and then move to the left that number of spaces. The second number is known as the second coordinate, or the y coordinate, because the second number tells us where to move along the y-axis. So if I was going to mark a spot at 4, 3, I would start at my origin, I would move to the right 4 spaces, and then I would move up 3 spaces. I would then mark it with a dot where those two lines intersect, and I would label it. In this case, let's call this point A. I would label it with an A. Tomorrow in class, I will expect you to be able to locate the origin and tell me what its purpose is. I will expect you to know where the 4 quadrants are and where positive numbers fall along the x-axis and the y-axis. We will work on labeling points and locating points from ordered pairs. So we will see you tomorrow.